I had never believed in ghosts. Not really. Sure, I'd heard the stories. Everyone has, but I always chalked them up to bad wiring, drafts, or overactive imaginations. I was 24, fresh out of college, and the idea of owning a house of my own was thrilling. So, when I found the old Victorian on the outskirts of town for a price too good to pass up, I jumped on it without hesitation. Big mistake. The house was gorgeous in that run-down, haunted kind of way. The kind of place you see in movies, with the creaky floors, high ceilings, and that musty smell that clung to the air like a memory. The real estate agent was a bit too eager to get me out of there once we finished the tour, but I figured she was just anxious to move on to the next sale. I didn't think much of it at the time. The first night I spent there was unsettling, though I couldn't exactly pinpoint why. It wasn't anything overt, no banging doors, no mysterious shadows, but there was an undercurrent of something off. And the air felt thick, like something was watching me, waiting. But I ignored it. I was tired and needed sleep. That's when it started. I woke up to the sound of footsteps, heavy ones. They crept across the wooden floors outside my bedroom, slow and deliberate, almost like they were pacing. At first I thought it was just the house settling, but then the footsteps stopped outside my door. I lay there, heart racing, staring into the dark. Nothing. After what felt like an eternity, I finally mustered the courage to peek out from under the covers, but there was no one there. The next night, it happened again. This time, the footsteps were followed by a soft whispering, low, indecipherable murmurs that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I got up to check, but the house was still, eerily still. No sign of anyone, no sign of anything. My breath caught in my throat as I stood in the middle of the hallway, my heart thundering in my chest. Was it my mind playing tricks? Or was there something more? Days passed, and the occurrences became more frequent. I'd hear things moving when I was in the kitchen, dishes clinking together, a chair scraping across the floor. But I'd turn the corner, and everything would be just as I left it. My friends started to notice, too, and they'd comment on the strange atmosphere, the way the temperature would drop unexpectedly, or how the air would grow thick with tension. I told myself they were just as nervous as I was, but deep down, I knew they were right. One night, I decided to confront it. I stayed up, determined to catch whatever was haunting me. I sat in the living room, lights dimmed, and waited. It didn't take long. Around 3 a.m., I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps again. But this time, they weren't just outside my door. They were coming down the stairs. I grabbed a flashlight, my hand trembling as I shined it toward the staircase. The beam of light flickered. Then, through the dark, I saw it. A figure tall and thin, standing halfway down the stairs. It had no face, just a silhouette, as if it were made of shadows. I froze, unable to move, unable to scream. The air around me seemed to constrict, and the whispers started again. Louder now, like a chorus of voices chanting in a language I didn't understand. It stepped forward, its feet making no sound as it glided down the stairs. I stumbled backward, my heart hammering in my chest, and that's when I saw something that made my blood run cold. The figure's hand reached out, its fingers elongating, stretching toward me, and I swear to God, I felt the coldness of its touch, even though it never actually made contact. I ran. I ran out of that house and didn't look back. And the next day, I called in a team of paranormal investigators. They said they'd never felt anything like it. They found traces of energy, something dark, ancient, lurking in the house, feeding off fear. They told me that the house had been built on land that had once been the site of a gruesome series of murders, a twisted legacy that had never truly gone away. I left the house that very day, but even now I hear the footsteps when I close my eyes. And sometimes, when it's quiet enough, I swear I can still feel that cold touch on the back of my neck. The house is still standing, waiting for someone else to move in. Maybe it's you next.